Hello everyone and welcome to another royal reading. I've had a few days break, very pleasant time away from the channel and busy with friends, but I'm back and I'm looking at things that go bump in the night. And the reason I'm doing it is because there are rumors that certain journalists are investigating the things that go bump in the night and are trying to expose the truth about whether a bump was used or not used by Meghan Markle. And let's remind you right now that this is a tarot reading for entertainment purposes. It is all just speculation or just rumor or just my opinion. And we read on the royals for archetypal purposes to learn lessons from an archetypal family. And there is, of course, a written disclaimer in the box below. And I'm going to do this reading, short 5-card reading, just to warm the cards up, warm me up after my few days away. I'm going to do this reading on an assumption for argument's sake. I'm going to assume for the purposes of argument that a bump was used, and I'm going to look at it, and on that premise, I'm not saying that a bump was actually used. I'm going to use this as an argument, and if a bump was used for the purposes of argument, did Harry know? Was he in on it from the start, or was he misled? How did he feel when he found out that this was what was going to happen, whether he knew from the start or whether he was brought in at some point along the way? And what is going to happen if the story ever comes out? Lady C has been quite adamant that the story will come out, and soon, basically, and you can go and watch her channel and see what she has to say about all of this. But as I say, for the purposes of this tarot reading, we're going to make an assumption. We're going to do a 5-card reading, and we're going to look and see where Harry was in all of this. Was he in on it? Was he brought into it? Was he bamboozled, shall we say? And for the purposes of argument, how he felt when it was made clear to him that this was going to be the way this was going to proceed, and what's going to happen. And what's going to happen, it might happen quite quickly, because our underlying energy is the 8 of Wands, and that is, I'll pull the next card out as well, Justice. 8 of Wands is news, is messages, is swift action, is breaking through, unblocking something. And as I said, what's prompted me to do this, it's been on my radar for a while, and I have read on it before in the Royals channel. You'll find readings on it. But what has prompted this reading is the news, the rumor, that there are journalists who are looking into it and trying to figure out how to break the story. That 8 of Wands is a story that is breaking, and we have Justice accompanying it as the underlying energy of this reading, which I find quite interesting, and I'm sure you watching this will find interesting too. So let's have a look and see the overall situation, the heart of the matter that we are talking about today. Knight of Swords. We've got someone riding in, swift action, truth and justice, kind of reprisals almost energy coming off that Knight of Swords. A very interesting card again, because we've got 2 cards now that are telling me things are going to happen quite quickly and quite surprisingly. And somebody, normally I get bad vibes off the Knight of Swords, just generally, because it's quite a harsh energy. But this to me is somebody who's riding in, who is bringing news, who is bringing that sword of justice and truth. We've got it here in the Justice card, we've got it there, and that avenging kind of energy that is around this reading, that is at the heart of this thing. I should imagine that if people have been bamboozled more than just Harry, allegedly, let's throw one of those in, and this reading is all entirely about allegations and rumours, then the press might feel somewhat aggrieved. Just saying. So, first real card, that's the situation, that's the underlying energy that underpins all of these cards. First real question that I want to know is, did Harry know from the start? Was he in on it from the start? Assuming that this was the case. 5 of Wands. There were arguments about it. There were great arguments about it. Definitely fighting about it. I don't think that he was keen on the idea. I think he knew from that card, assuming, again, for the sake of argument, that this was the situation, that they decided to go down, or that Meghan decided to go down for whatever reason. But conflict around it, argument about it, a lot of argument. And it's dirty dealings, the 5 of Wands for me in these royal readings. When I see the 5 of Wands, I get the idea that people weren't playing by the rules. They were trying to score. They were trying to gain advantage over other people. They were competing with other people. There was definitely conflict around this. So, and conflict, to my mind, within a couple. Let's see if he was in fact misled. Sorry, I'm losing my voice now, interestingly, talking about arguments, and suddenly I lose my voice. So let's have a look and see if he was actually misled at some level. Don't think so, but was he? 4 of Pentacles in reverse is the letting go card. When it's upright, hanging on to something, hanging on to, you could say almost a pregnancy, because the Pentacles are eggs, pregnancies. For me, they're about the body, they're about physical things. Pentacles of 4s are about consolidation, about permanence and stability. And this is wanting something, wanting a pregnancy, wanting a child, wanting to hang on to it, physically being able to hang on to it, to stay the distance. The card is in the reverse. I'm not getting deception energy in here. I'm getting letting go, losing control of something literally dropping. And it's interesting if you go and watch Lady C or read the transcript of the particular YouTube video where she talks about this. She talks about something being exposed, something slipping in front of the press at a certain outing that Harry and Meghan were on, and Meghan hustling back to the car, and off she went. And then great anxiety around the idea that this whole secret might come out. This is the speculation, this is the rumor, this is what people are talking about. I don't get mysteries, I don't get secrets, I don't get lies, I don't get any of those things. I don't get deception. I don't get that he was bamboozled. I think that he was in it from the start unwillingly. I'm going to say that. I think there was a lot of conflict about it, a lot of arguments. I get from this card that instead of him being bamboozled, I get the idea that something happened, something dropped, something slipped, and then it was high anxiety from then on, and possibly a need for a cover-up. Again, we are assuming for the sake of argument that this actually happened. I am not stating as a matter of fact that it did happen. We are looking at the energy around this rumor. Tell me now how he felt when he realized that this was the path they were going down, or that Meghan allegedly wanted to go down. getting conflict already. So how did he feel about it? How did he feel about it? Well, just going to have to take charge of the situation. Ace of Wands. Going to have to control the narrative. Going to have to spin this. Going to have to be very strong, very committed to it. I want this. Definitely wanted the outcome. Wanted the pregnancy. Wanted the outcome of it. A new start with that Ace of Wands. But it is telling me that this is a message. It's going to have to be creative, going to have to use ideas, going to have to be quite dynamic and forceful about it. So not hiding from it, not at all, not shying away from it, accepting it, and thinking, well, I'm going to have to get on board with this, and I'm going to have to control the narrative with that Ace of Wands. Start putting a new story out, a new spin out. And we know, according to Lady C again, what story allegedly they've decided on in that moment of panic, that Four of Pentacles moment in reverse. That is when, according to Lady C and her information or her speculation, that is when the idea came or started that Megan was suffering from suicidal ideation. That is what Lady C has to say about this all. So let's see outcome. And how's it going to play if this is ever exposed? Impact on him, on Harry, who has been very open about things in his life, but not this. The World in reverse. Very, 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 very negative outcome for him. It's an unsuccessful outcome of a journey. It's very much a pregnancy card, the World. Successful completion of something when it's upright, moving on to a new story. But when it's in reverse, you never hear the end of something. It's a story that goes round and round and round and does not resolve. It is like almost being stuck on a hamster wheel. It's very negative publicity. It has become for me in these royal readings a card of PR, of the whole world knowing about something. When the card is in the reverse, the whole world knowing something very negative about you. This is the only major arcana that's come out in this reading, apart from this Justice card. That's the second underlying energy. Tells me to summarize and to read this again, and I'm treading extremely carefully in this reading, as you can hear, picking my words very carefully. This is the situation, the scenario that we are reading on as a speculative scenario, and imagine if this were the case scenario. We have got a story breaking and justice, people looking for justice, very much looking for justice. We have got conflict around it in the very beginning, arguments about it. We have got a loss of control of the story, and then an idea that the narrative had to be reshaped and reformed, very firmly steered in a different direction. But if a story ever emerges about this scenario with the bump, it is not going to go well for Has-Been. It is going to be a story that he can't live down, that he can't silence, that is going to go round and round and round and round and round, and is going to reflect very, very badly on him. That is the reading. That is the first reading I'm doing today on this story again. The second reading I'm going to do is about the royal family and who knew what. Assuming, again, for the sake of argument, that this is what played out, we're going to look at who knew what and when amongst the rest of the royal family. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you over on the next reading.